Preserving savory vegetables. My name is Mimi and welcome to my home. Good morning and welcome. This week I have been participating in the Every Bit Counts challenge hosted by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. And this is a challenge where every day during the month of August we do something to prepare or pack our pantry. Now, my garden comes in most of the time during the month of June and July. So by August, I'm pretty much done with growing and canning food from my garden. This year I did can tomatoes and green beans, corn, potatoes, pickles, jams. So I was done with most of my canning before August. And what's great about this challenge is it makes me think outside of the box. What else could I put in my pantry? And so I really wanted to focus this past week on savory vegetables. And what I mean by that is things that make your soups and your stews and your casseroles really taste good. So I went to Sam's and I bought in bulk like garlic, 2 tubs of mushrooms, spinach, onions, carrots, and celery. So every day this week I prepped and dehydrated in my Excalibur dehydrator some type of vegetable that can be tossed into the crock pot or into a big pot of soup or stew. This way I don't have to worry about running to the grocery store to get an onion or some garlic or mushrooms. Everything is shelf stable, ready to go in my pantry. So this video I'm going to show you how I dehydrated all of these. It's so easy. And it really is great to have on hand, and it's easy, very easy to do. You don't have to worry about pressure on the canner. You just put it in your dehydrator, let it run during the night, and the next morning you're ready to put it in jars. So let's get started. I'd like to recommend this Ultimate Dehydrator Cookbook by Tammy Gangloff. You can get it on Amazon. It is a must-have for those that like to dehydrate. Here are all the vegetables I bought at Sam's in bulk. I've got 2 trays of mushrooms, a pack of celery, that's 5 pounds, a 6.5 pound bag of onions, carrots, and spinach. So we're going to get busy and get all of these dehydrated this week. And here's where we're going to start with garlic. So you dehydrate at 125 degrees for 8 to 10 hours. And let's see, I sat down one Sunday evening and peeled all this garlic, sliced it thinly, dehydrated it for about 8 hours, and then packed it in a jar. And it is perfect. Then all you have to do is drop them into some soup or stews, or you can chop them up, rehydrate them with water, and they're good to go. Today I dehydrated mushrooms at 125 degrees for 8 hours. You just wipe the mushrooms off with a paper towel and slice them thinly. And then you're going to put those on the dehydrator trays. Now I liked sliced mushrooms. There is a recipe for whole mushrooms in the book. So I highly recommend you get that book if you like whole mushrooms. But I'm going to be slicing these up, putting these on the dehydrator tray. And 2 containers of mushrooms filled up my dehydrator, so that's why I chose 2. I've done these in the past and they're perfect in soups and stews. So there are all the mushrooms. We're going to stick those in the dehydrator and get going. Alright, here is the loaded dehydrator. This is what they looked like before, and now we'll check out how they have shrunk down in size. It is the next day, and I'm going to take these out, put them in a good clean jar, and they are much smaller and they will crack in 2, which is perfect, which is what you want. That is the right texture. And so I'm using gloves because I don't want the oils or any moistures from my hands to touch the dehydrated mushrooms, and so I'm just going to place these in mason jars. There they go. Just slide them right into the jars, and once I have the jars filled, I will seal them with my food saver attachment, and they're good to go, ready for the pantry. Right, on day 3, it was an easy day. We just dehydrated some spinach at 110 degrees. Now this has been triple washed, so I did not worry about washing. But if you have grown your own spinach, you will need to wash that. I'm just going to take this right out of the box and put it on the trays, and we dehydrate this for 8 hours. I would encourage you to check it after 6. If it's real brittly, then go ahead and take it out, but the book says 8 hours. I only had to do this for 6 hours, but just spread out all of the spinach on all the trays and then just let it go to work in the dehydrator. It's that easy. All right, about 6 hours later, I pull it out. It's nice and crunchy. So I'm just going to very carefully place this in the jar. This works good for soups or dips. You can rehydrate it with water or just put it in your crock pot when you have all your liquid and all your vegetables in. I love spinach in Italian soups. It just adds a lot of good flavor and nutrients. So that dehydrator was full, and I got a nice jar full of dehydrated spinach to use in recipes all through the winter. So as you can see, 1 container of spinach from Sam's after dehydrating fits perfectly in a mason quart jar. Next day, we've got onions that need to be dehydrated at 125 degrees for 8 hours. But first, we're going to need to blanch those. So I have a big bag of onions, and I'm going to peel and then start chopping those onions. And my handy dandy chopper died, so I am having to do this by hand. But it's quick work. You just slice down and then go back across and finely chop. Now on the stove, I have a big pot of boiling water going. We are going to need to blanch these for about 30 seconds in the boiling water and then immediately dip them in the ice water bath. And if you blanch them, your onions, you only have to dehydrate for 8 hours. If you dehydrate them raw, you have to do it much longer, 10 to 12 hours. So here I am just with my strainer, dipping it in the boiling water, counting in my head up to 30 seconds, taking them out and dipping them right in that ice water. And then after that, I spread them out on a towel to cool. Then we place all of this on dehydrator trays. Now I moved my dehydrator to another part of the house that has a vent, because boy, these things can smell up your house, but it is worth it. So here's the tray. I'm just going to dump those right onto that tray, spread it out, and put those in the dehydrator. Now about 8 hours later, I take them out. Oh, they have really shrunk down in size, and they're nice and crisp, and this is exactly what you want. You can break them apart. So we're just going to push this to the middle and then pour these in the jar. So that 6.5 pound bag of onions chopped will fit into 1 quart jar. All right, the last day of the week, we're going to do celery and carrots. This is also a little labor intensive, but we take our celery sticks, we cut off both of the ends, wash them good, and then we're going to chop it into 1/2 inch pieces. You do need to blanch these. So I've got the boiling water, my strainer, and some ice water, and these need to blanch for about 1 minute. So I count off in my head, but I'm going to scoop some in that strainer. And you will be shocked to see how much these shrink down. I'm going to have to go out and buy at least 3 or 4 more bags of these carrots to fill my jar up. So, there it is. It's a beautiful deeper green color. We're going to immediately put it in the ice water, let it cool down, and then we're going to spread it out on the tray. There it is. We've cooled it down with the ice water. We're going to spread this on the tray, and this will need to dehydrate for 10 to 12 hours. So that is why I am doing celery and carrots at the same time, because they both take about the same time. Here is carrots, same temperature, same time. We're going to trim and peel these carrots. And this is a 6.5 pound bag, I think it was. A lot of carrots in there, so I'm going to take off the ends, and then I'm going to peel, and then we're going to dip those whole in boiling water. First I got to peel them. And let's take a little break and head out to the hen house. These girls will love this little treat of the carrot peelings. So I'm going to drop those in there for my girls, and then we'll get back to work. Alright, on the stove I have a big pot of boiling water, and I'm going to dump all of these carrots in that boiling water. They will need to sit in this water for at least 5 minutes, and then I'm going to put them in the ice water bath. So all of the carrots go in at one time, and then we'll put them in that ice water bath after 5 minutes. Alright, after they've cooled completely, it's now time to chop into 1/2 inch pieces. So I'm just kind of doing 3 at a time and chopping these up, and then we'll spread these out on the dehydrator tray. They will need to dehydrate for 10 to 12 hours, and then they will shrink considerably down. Not as much as the celery, but they do shrink down. So let's go ahead and get these put in the dehydrator and get it going. Here is one more tip to keep your carrots from turning brown. I'm just going to splash some lemon juice over them, and then just swirl it around in the bowl and make sure they're all good and covered. And then I fill up my trays. So the dehydrator is now full of celery and carrots, and we'll set that, let it go overnight, and the next morning we'll be ready to put these in jars. Alright, it's the next day, and look at how tiny that celery is. Celery is obviously nothing but water with a little bit of skin. So we're going to take these out and put them in a pint-sized jar. And it only filled it up almost halfway, maybe a third. So I'm going to need a lot more celery. I may wait until November when it goes on sale and I can really get some good buys. But I love celery in soup and chicken soup and stews. I put it in spaghetti sauce. It's just really good. So I'm really anxious to have a lot of this. It's just going to take a lot more celery to fill up a jar. So after I've got that jar full, we'll go ahead and pull out those carrots. And you can see the carrots have also shrunk in size. And they're nice and firm. And so we're going to go ahead and put those in a quart jar. And these will also be great to put in soups and stews. Now remember, you're not going to dump a whole lot of these dehydrated carrots in a pot of soup. This is one big bag. So for a chicken noodle soup recipe, I would probably only add in a 1/2 cup of these dehydrated, because they will plump up and really fill in your bowl. So there is the carrots and the celery, and that is the last day of the week. So we'll go back and recap on everything we got done in this Every Bit Counts challenge. And I really love how pretty all these jars look on my counter, so I'm real excited. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and be part of my community. I'd love to have you here. Have a blessed day.